Moving on here with our conference championship predictions. Today, I got to give you my breakdown of the final Big Ten title game of this current format before they get rid of divisions and the Pac-12 teams come in between the Michigan Wolverines and the Iowa Hawkeyes. And we're going to give you our thoughts and predictions here in a second. But before we do that, I do want to say we have just started this brand new college football channel and we are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. So do us a favor and help us get there by hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below. And while you're at it, comment your predictions for championship weekend, not just for the Big Ten title game, but frankly predict any of the games that are happening on Saturday or Friday that you would like. And let's have some fun down in the comments. So be sure to do that. And as a reminder, be sure to like and subscribe. All right, with that said, Michigan versus Iowa, let's get into this and talk about this. Well, Las Vegas currently has Michigan as a 22-point favorite. I believe that number has actually gone up. I think it started out as 21.5 or 21 at the beginning of the week. And let's discuss this. I mean, let's talk about this. I think when you see that point spread, the obvious question more so becomes, is there a path? Is there a potential in your eyes for Iowa to maybe pull off this upset? And if so, how does that happen? Well, I think the answer is pretty simple as to how that happens. You want to hope you're in a position where Michigan, having just beat Ohio State in a very emotional, tough, exhausting physical game last week, maybe comes in a little bit sleepy. You're definitely going to want a few turnovers, a little bit of stall drives on offense, and lean in on Iowa's very good defense to do so. And definitely if you're Iowa, right, you've seen that offense all year, and many of us have joked about it. You need this to be a low scoring game. You want this to be, say, like 13-10, 16-13, something like that going into the fourth quarter, and maybe just hope, throw up a prayer that the absolutely inept and incompetent Iowa offense manages to thread the needle on just one drive and do something. The problem, folks, and let me say it right now, I'm not just predicting Michigan to win, I'm predicting Michigan to cover that 22-point spread, is that I don't think that's going to happen, okay? Couple points to be made, and let's start by talking about the Iowa defense, because that obviously, you assume if Iowa can pull off this prediction, is going to be the X factor. Iowa obviously has one of the best, I think actually maybe statistically the best, if I'm not mistaken, someone can correct me on that, defenses in America. You've watched them play this year. They basically held most of their Big Ten West opponents to, 10, 13 or so points a game, and that's with a totally inept offense that was doing them no favors in terms of, time of possession, field position, all that different stuff. But here's my issue. All right. And this is going to be kind of a controversial take, but when you take a look at something like, say, the 24/7 team talent composite ratings, which shows you actually how many athletes do you have on your field, how many 5 stars, how many 4 stars, you find, and I'll say this, I do not think Iowa's defense is as good as some people make it out to be. And I know you're going to say, Vince, what do you mean? Look, don't get me wrong. As I just said, I think they're one of the better defenses in this country. Don't get me wrong. But we also have to consider the competition they've played for a lot of this season, right? Again, in any Division I Power 5 football, it is hard to do what Iowa's defense is doing week in and week out. Don't get me wrong, that is a sign of a good defense and certainly a very well-coached defense. But on the flip side, I think it's important to keep in mind, it's easier to do against, your Illinois and your Northwesterns every week than it is against a more elite team with a lot more athletes. And that's the point that I'm making here, that it's really going to come down to, which is, as good as Iowa's defense is and as well coached as they are, do they have the athletes to handle a team like Michigan, who even themselves, you look at overall talent, is not even like the most talented team in the country, but certainly is going to be a step up from different type of teams that, Iowa has been able to put up those impressive defensive statistics against all year. And so that's my thing, which is, do I think Iowa's defense is very good? Yes, but I do not think that they're going to be able to only hold Michigan to the 10 to 17 and maybe 20 at most points you're going to need to have them at in the fourth quarter in order to give your offense a shot, right? And then We then turn around there to the flip side, which is, and I think most people would agree with this is the less hot take when talking about Iowa, which is that Iowa's offense is completely inept. And on the flip side, you know, the defense they're playing gives them no favors, because while Iowa, yes, does have one of the best defenses in the country, in my opinion, you know who else has one of the best defenses in America is, of course, Michigan. Michigan also plays physical defense. Michigan is a tough team as well, right? You know, because that's what you kind of hope. You know, if you're Iowa, you're a tough team, you're a physical team. You want to play against a team maybe where you have that physicality and toughness advantage. You can play better defense than. The problem is, I don't think it matches up well for them at all, because Michigan may have a similar play style to Iowa, but they're just so much better. They do it so much better, in my opinion, than Iowa does. And so the problem for me is this: even if that Iowa defense makes a few more stops than other teams have been able to make against Michigan, can their offense, first of all, even cross the 50-yard line? I think that should frankly be the drinking game if anyone wants to do that at the Big Ten championship, is how many times does Iowa actually cross the 50-yard line? When you look at the Iowa offense this year, so unbelievably inept and incompetent against Big Ten West competition. Frankly, you're going up against that Michigan defense. I don't think they stand a shot. Frankly, I'm not even sure if they're going to score a touchdown in that entire game, you know, and if they do, it might be one, and that's about it. And so overall, my point here, folks, I don't think Iowa has a shot. I think Michigan is just that much better. And the fact that the styles are very similar and then Michigan's just a better team, that kind of throws out an X factor that Iowa might be able to use. Again, I really can't trust that Iowa offense to even forget a shootout, right? They're definitely not holding up in a shootout, but even a mid-level range scoring game, you know, somewhere in the 20s or low 30s, I don't even think Iowa's offense, especially against that Michigan defense, has the capability of even being able to hold up in that, right? And so you may have the slight advantage. Like I said, I think Michigan will start slow in this game because of the hangover, you know, of Ohio State, maybe a little bit, and maybe for a first quarter the score's still 0-0, something like that, right? But I do not think this is a Michigan team ultimately that chokes in this situation, right? I think they're a team really playing with their hair on fire right now, with all the internal and external drama. I think they have all the motivation they need. This is, you know, a well-oiled machine, and you've seen that this year, you know, beating Penn State, beating Ohio State without even having their freaking head coach. It's just too strong of a team. I don't like the matchup at all for Iowa, and I am taking Michigan in a probably like a 35-3, maybe a 31-6 final score or something like that. You know, like I said, maybe that defense does make a few stops. Don't think it is going to be enough. Michigan wins the Big Ten. Michigan covers, and Michigan is going to the college football playoff as the number 2 or number 1 seed. Obviously, other things remain to be seen. But yeah, with that said, folks, let me know your thoughts on the Big Ten title game down in the comment section below. Feel free to interject about the Harbaugh drama as well, because obviously that's been a kind of a side story this whole year alongside what Michigan's doing on the field. So be sure to do that. Again, like and subscribe if you are new. And until next time, see you later. God bless and peace.